In the not too distant future, next Sunday AD, there was a guy named Joel, not too different from you or me.
Hello, I'm Faith, and welcome to Faith's Take, where I talk about anything and everything that I find interesting. And welcome to my review of MST3K episode 111, Moon 02. With this being one of the 3 episodes left in this season, I for one can't wait to get into it, since this means the season is almost over for us. So let's not waste any time and get right into it. As is to be expected at this point, we open with Joel summing up the premise of the show, but it's at least funnier than usual when Joel instructs us to think of him while snacking during the show. But again, the bots don't really do anything, just sit there and stare blankly in the camera while in their bathrobes. Getting to the invention exchange, Joel has a food teleportation device. Now this isn't just a device that teleports the food to your plate, but actually inside of you. Now that is an interesting invention, complete with well-executed Muppet Show-esque visuals. Hats off, Mr. Robinson. Meanwhile, the Mads just top bottles of toothpaste with the heads of decapitated dolls. So in the same exchange, we have both one of the coolest and one of the laziest inventions thus far.
Hi everybody, welcome to the Satellite of Love. My name's Joel. I'm still marooned out in space. By the way, if you're going to go during the commercial and make a snack while you're digging in the refrigerator, think of me. Get something delicious and nutritious because I'll be eating vicariously through you. Well, sirs, the things that I've been working on is this new way of teleporting food. Okay, I put this on, look at an ordinary cookie, and whoa. Delicious.
We've employed some of Hollywood's top stars to help us with our new mouth-to-mouth celebrity toothpaste.
Feel the cleaning power of the star's internal juices as they go to work on plaque and tartar buildup in your mouth. There's Jack Nicholson from Witches of Eastwick.
Well, I think 4 out of 5 dentists are going to recommend psychotherapy for you two.
Thank you.
Well, Joel, your film today is called Moon 02. It's a late 60s romp through the then lunar-crazed consciousness of America.
And believe me, it doesn't stand up to the test of time.
Stew on the broth of this one, lumpy boy.
Enjoy.
Oh, we got movie side! Oh!
And we hop into the theater for Moon 02. And can I just say it feels so good to not have to say we open with a Commando Cody short? Anyway, the movie opens in color, guess Dr. F decided to spoil our guys again, and we get an animated credit scene along with a theme song, both of which obviously had way too much effort put into them for this movie. After 3.5 minutes of what I can already tell will be the most entertaining part of this film, we finally cut to the live action portion. We cut to a couple of astronauts retrieving a satellite, and this guy totally is actually in space, you guys, like, for real. Don't question the fact that there are absolutely no stars or anything behind him, it's just a void of inky black, even though you can tell that since there aren't any moons, suns, or planets behind him, in those shots there should not be any light obscuring the stars. It's totally, really space. For real. He brings the satellite on board the ship, and they start preparing to land on the moon.
Hey, the cartoon has landed.
Is this a Pink Panther movie?
No, I think it's like NASA simulation kind of like.
Why would they use cartoons?
So astronauts could understand them.
Titles by Mrs. Reedy's 3rd grade. Circle the moon. Exactly, good.
Rocket, Joe.
You look like Goldie Hawn on Laugh-In.
Except for the hair.
And the body. Oh, look at that. He's beating the titles out of him.
Hey, great club. No atmosphere.
Can't believe there's a cover charge on the moon.
Is the whole movie like this, you guys?
Boy, I hope not. I don't think I can take 2 hours of this song.
They're trash.
Cartoon's cool, though.
Whoa.
Houston, I just spotted an animated cartoon on the surface of the moon. Come in. This thing is huge. Huh?
Looks like a little orbiting ice machine.
Houston, our central air is here, but they didn't send the ductwork over.
He's got the Nintendo Power Glove there. Sort of seems like a waste of cargo space to bring along a conga band.
Moon 02, this is Moon Control.
02 to Moon Control.
Moon Control to Major Tom.
2 minutes from out.
Once they land, we see the moon has the space equivalent of an airport with lots of coming and going and foreign clothing. But if you see that sign back there, guys, it's apparently only 2021, which means we only have 4 years to get this finished. Chop chop! As the astronaut, an extremely hostile space pilot named Bill Kemp, starts having a conversation with whoever this guy is, I don't know if they ever tell us. They drop lots of exposition, including that we have flights to Mars and Venus in this future. Later on, Kemp meets with this piece of walking upholstery named Clementine Taplin. It turns out she's looking for her brother, who never met her back at whatever that moon airport was called. I don't think they ever told us. Kemp assures her that they'll meet him in Moon City, a city whose name I would normally make fun of, but seeing as how I live in Kansas City, Missouri, I don't think I have a right to judge odd geographical names. Suddenly, Bill and Clementine are best buddies as he shows off the city to her, all while waiting for the news of her brother. It turns out that he's not in the city, though, and Bill's best guess is that he landed at a base 2,000 plus miles away and will reach them in the next couple of days.
Spaceways announced their arrival of Flight X.
There's a space blue light special in quadrant B9.
If you're Moon 02, I wish you'd sell that thing along with all the other space rubbish you collect. You're a
Don't say hi.
I don't think I could. I was just telling this man. You can't tell this man anything about anything.
But feel free to tell him something about nothing or a little about a lot.
When they outfit the first flight to Mercury, tell them to call me.
Come on, Bill. You know the answer to that one.
We don't have your number. It's not listed.
What more do you want?
I'm not coming back into the corporation and
Wow, did
passenger
you get that
runs.
shirt at a Molly
I'm a
Hatchet
space
concert?
pilot, not a mechanically.
They dress their stewardesses like Nazis.
Leaving right away, Mr. Hubbard. Magazine?
Yes, it is.
Cocktail. For you, sir.
He doesn't drink and he can't read.
But he still has feelings, jeez.
Well, what did
Do
you
you
want to see?
think I look like a zucchini?
She looks like Darth Vader.
Told me you'd fly. You were supposed to meet me at the spaceport.
He's probably waiting at Moon City.
That's what the man said.
Don't you listen to what the man says.
Your first time up here?
That would explain the stupid hat.
And I suggested.
Hey, it's the original Space Mountain, what do you know? And look, the line's still long.
The monument there is where Neil Armstrong landed back in 1969.
Of course, that's just a model. The real thing's a lot bigger.
Into energy. They run convoys of them over to Farside to bring
It's
back
like
the
a
minerals.
moon base.
But it's a slow business.
Vroom, vroom.
Where's his club?
21st century.
It'll still be the same in the 25th.
I suppose so.
We're almost walking off the
Thanks for your
set.
help.
Would you mind going the other way?
And now, SOL Theater presents the 1969 moon landing.
This is our tribute to astronaut Armstrong and the men who brought him to the moon. It was 1962, and a young president, John F. Kennedy, makes a bold promise.
By the end of this decade, we will send a man safely to the moon and return him safely home.
No. Okay, I'm on the pad now. I'm jumping off. Ugh. That's one small step for a man, one giant leap for mankind.
Oh man, do you have your keys? I just locked ourselves out of the LEM.
No, what? Oh wow, that's one small screw up for you, one giant screw up for you.
I'm gonna have
Thus
to
ends
go
our pageant.
find that.
Back in the theater, Kemp heads to a bar where we get one of the many random dance sequences that most bad movies seem to always have. The bartender serves Kemp a drink that turns out to be rocket fuel, which somehow doesn't kill him, and he goes on to prove how charming a man he is by destroying a phone and literally telling a guy to go to hell. The dude pulls a gun on him, and they head for this unfortunate scene where the obvious bad guy and bizarrely dressed lackeys are playing with the worst joke of the movie. It turns out that this crime boss called Hubbard wants Kemp to pilot a mission to send a small asteroid to smash into the side of the moon. The reason being that the asteroid's full of sapphires, which, based on how sapphires are formed here on Earth, doesn't seem physically possible, and no, I will not stop nitpicking the flawed science of an almost 50-year-old sci-fi flick. Kemp wants to refuse Hubbard purely out of random hatred and spite, which seem to be his calling card, until he hears that he'll get a new ship out of the deal and immediately accepts the offer, no further prodding necessary.
Hey, it looks like Liza Minnelli and Lola Falana had a garage sale.
Moonflower, double.
The name's Bob, if you don't mind. Nice bar. Really crummy atmosphere, though.
That one will live forever.
Yep.
A lot of mileage there.
It still tastes like distilled rocket fuel.
It is still the rocket fuel.
That's easy for you to say.
How much is scotch this week?
It's Moon Zero Mostel. Hey, he could have just said hello.
That's no way to treat a phone friend.
I bought it a drink. What more can a man do?
Well, maybe get it
The
some
gentleman
dinner.
wants a word with you.
You can tell him to go to hell instead.
Mr. Hubbard wants to see you.
Old 100% Hubbard?
L. Ron Hubbard? Old Mother Hubbard?
Say so.
Ooh,
brother.
stupid. Let's moon him. Come on.
Do you bathe?
4th floor, tyrannical tycoons, loose women.
Works every time.
Perhaps I should apologize for sending a man like Harry to fetch
No,
the
I'm just
pilot
wild
of
about
the
Harry.
first man on Mars. Do you know the asteroids, Mr. Kemp?
Sure, I have Atari.
The remains.
Not mine it, Mr. Kemp. Land it. On the moon.
Land it? You mean crash it, and that's against the law in a big way.
He's right. Just ask John Landis.
You would have the results of 2 years' research to help you.
Good Lord, he's ugly.
This film was taken by Mr. Hubbard's astronomical division.
I'm sorry, that's my
The asteroid
gallstone.
is barely 60 feet by 30 by 30, estimated mass approximately 6,000 tons.
Heavy.
This is me playing Breakout.
Do you read 6,000 tons of gemstone sapphire?
Okay.
That's what's so special about this asteroid.
Well, that's my birthstone. I'll do it.
Kemp, his engineer who's kept none the wiser on this mission, and a few hired hands in on the plan get a ship while Hubbard comes to wish them a successful journey. As they take off, the British henchman starts explaining the details of the trip, which you think they would have wanted the pilot to have known ahead of time, but whatever. But that's enough real plot, as we cut to Clementine, who's now emulating the girl from Lazy Town, back in that weird Moon City bar, where this time we have a western theme, complete with the dancers wearing cowboy hats, 6-shooters, and a bad hee-haw soundtrack. As she questions more people on her brother's whereabouts, she drops the exposition that months have passed since the first act of this movie, and for someone who can't find anyone who has even heard from her brother in months, she's a bit too common shipper about this situation.
I'm intrinsically evil, and I've got a new jogging suit I'm showing off.
Yes, this time we can pay the bill, okay?
Okay, Mr. Faulty.
Okay, we're pressurized. You can take your helmets off.
Just kidding.
And I want the main course exactly 90 seconds after blast off.
You are a hungry little guy.
Slap in the road tape, dude, and get the JD from under the seat.
The asteroid is making its closest approach to the moon since 1998 on this course.
It's the closest approach since I grew my bushy-wushy sidebands. Hey, anybody know where a guy can get some armor all around here?
Hey, it's the same dance with different hats, but it's a completely different experience.
Excuse me, ma'am. Someone didn't finish your haircut. Oh, my. I'm in love.
Excuse, was he on this convoy?
Well, if he was, I didn't see him.
Well, what was his handle?
Back on the bridge, Joel and the bots dive deeper into the idea behind the Moonopoly gag and try to predict what other certain board games would evolve to in the future.
I was just thinking about that kind of dumb Moonopoly joke they got in there. It's just a stupid pun, but, you know, in the future, the games we play now are going to be a lot different with the future element involved. You know, like a Twister will probably be played on your tongue.
You know, Risk is riskier.
Right, and Sorry will seem to be the hardest game.
Kaboom is called Don't Smoke in the Ship because it's an oxygen-rich atmosphere and you could blow up. And that would be...
Right, and they won't have mice because they'll need to use them for research. You know,
Also
you
no
can't play
mousetrap.
Mousetrap.
Right, okay.
Well, I got a game from my past that's in my present, and I think we'll keep going into the future. You know how it works, guys. It's Rock'em Sock'em Robots. Yeah. Yeah. All right, I knocked his block off.
Landing on the asteroid to test their plan, they strap several rockets to it to propel it closer to the moon without actually crashing into it yet. Again, Kemp is a bland jerk for absolutely no reason at all, especially since he accepted this position and is getting well paid. The others all head back to the ship while Kemp needs to wait until the asteroid actually starts moving before he can get off. As it starts to speed away, he almost doesn't make it, but he's the protagonist, so unfortunately, he does. Bill meets Clementine back at the bar, where the dancers are now dressed as chickens, but it doesn't even match the music this time, and I just don't know. Anyway, she asks him to take her to look for her brother at a mine a couple 100 miles away, with the promise to pay him well, and he agrees. However, Hubbard's henchman doesn't like that, and they end up having a fight when Kemp shuts the artificial gravity off, and we're treated to one of the worst fight sequences I've ever seen.
A 6,000-ton jewel. How would you like to meet the broad who could hang that around her neck?
Well, she's probably got a boyfriend. Wow. I never knew outer space was so well lit.
In space, no one can hear you yawn.
1 hour,
behind 18 minutes.
If number 3 goes off right on time.
If it doesn't, it'll ruin the whole operation.
Yeah, but if it does, it'll work. If it doesn't, just do it.
So do all the rest.
But it must fire exactly
Shouldn't
on
they have
time.
figured all this out on the ship?
I'll stay here.
Are you sure you'll be all right, Mr. Kemp?
You take care of your calculations. I'll take care of myself.
But let's just try to work together.
Thank you for asking, anyway.
Sure.
It's not easy being green.
Ah, frog and a bear together again. Waka waka waka.
What?
See that? Means absolutely nothing. 5, 4, 3.
Hey, it looks like his stone passed him.
What would have happened if it failed?
They've ended up in his socks.
You know, at least he would have died with his birthstone, though.
Wow, they're so versatile. It's kind of like Swan Lake A-Go-Go.
Farside is a big place. You just don't go visiting someone where it's 100 miles of rough country and in a moon bug, which...
Hey, Florence Henderson hairdo. Looks like she did it with Wesson oil.
Mr. Kemp, will you fly me over there?
I don't know, how fast do you go?
It'll only be a 3-day trip. I'll be back in time.
That's what the skipper said.
Hey, watch the slush puppy machine.
We're gonna play by my rules.
Yeah, but nobody knows what your rules are. Look out, Big Bird.
Oh, he should have seen that coming.
The pair, along with Kemp's engineer buddy, end up landing at the last base her brother should have been, a building made completely out of giant bubble wrap, and while the guy at the base gives them a moonbug to rent so they can continue their search, their friend decides to wait for them there. The music swells as we get the lamest effect so far, which after that anti-gravity fight is saying a lot, and we have a scene that's supposed to be developing character, but really just amounts to nothing but more exposition. Turns out Clementine and her brother's dad exploded a few years back, while Bill, who was once a space hero, decided he didn't want to evolve with the rocket industry and quit his real job to become the bitter freelance pilot he is today.
Just like the Moon Express. Though, your ship is different in other ways.
You mean no toilet paper? Yeah, sorry about that. Hey, could you turn down that stereo?
In space, no one can art direct.
Seen Wally here.
Could ask Nick Hunter to ask Louis Grenier to ask Tad Connell to pass on a message, but
But they're all dead. It'd be silly.
with kidney trouble. I'd need $1,000 deposit.
Oh, I have that in my shoe.
And so they set out in the Wiener car in search of the giant kielbasa.
How long does it stay dark?
All night.
Your father?
He blew himself up 5 years ago, dynamiting for emeralds in the Andes.
And your mom?
I can remember when we got the news that you'd landed on Mars. I was just a schoolgirl then, and I wasn't very interested in space travel.
Okay, rub it in, I'm old.
I remember your name from then. The man who'd flown a spaceship for 40 million miles.
Okay,
Well,
you're
not
12, I'm 100, I get it already.
Oh, I could still.
Anyway, I wasn't a passenger pilot, so I quit.
Okay, I lied. They got me on a morals charge.
Once they get to her brother's moon mine, they discover his skeleton, which I'm pretty sure most of us expected at this point. After examining the scene, though, the death seems pretty particularly mysterious, as he had enough supplies to keep him alive for a while yet. Just as they start to leave, some space assassins, who are apparently big fans of Heathers, show up to kill them. They start driving away before they need to abandon the bug to keep hidden. Kemp tricks the color-coded creeps and ends up shooting one of them before the duo has to run into a moon cave to evade the other vividly dressed villains. After killing another, Kemp is almost cut open by a moon plow before playing dead and finally killing the last one, and at the same time proving that the brother was murdered. With the evildoers and her brother dead, they take the moon plow, since none of them will need it anymore, but of course they have limited fuel and no heat, with a whole 200 miles to get back to the bubble base.
Wow, look at it in there. Your brother was really a slob. Hey, is there air coming out of your suit, or are you playing a trumpet?
Wally did find something.
Are you sure?
I know a little about geology.
Oh, we all know a little bit.
Where could he have gone?
Not far, or I'd have taken this bug dozer.
Now, just how disappointed would you be if you never saw your brother alive again?
Oh, he's lost weight. He looked much better heavy.
He had to have oxygen to look like... to go as he did. One full, one empty.
Which one do you think he used?
Oops. Looks like we got company. It's the unwelcome wagon.
Identify yourselves.
Okay, will this help? They call me Shooter.
Damn moon goons.
Hey, they come in great flavors, too. There's raspberry red, burnt umber, and, of course, chartreuse.
Timpani guns.
Works every time. Oh, he killed a blow-up doll.
Wow, lawn and garden attachments. That guy's got all the candy.
Hey, slippery guy. He's playing possum. Told ya.
How do we get out of here? Our bug's written off.
Let's try this one.
Yeah, it's got lawn attachments and a Blaupunk stereo, factory air, the works.
Leave your suit on. It's 200 degrees below zero in here.
What's the wind chill, though?
Oh, it's all shot to hell.
What, the plot?
And we've only...
Back on deck, while drinking confetti and streamers, the bots start fighting about which girl in the movie is the most beautiful, but before they can really settle this, Joel turns off the SOL's gravity, and they have a slow-motion, quote-unquote, action scene, just like in the movie.
Boy, Servo, what a great movie. Great actresses, too. I like the babe with the great haircut.
One with the Eddie Munster page boy look? Nah, I like the gator-headed chick.
The one with the eel-skin skull cap? No way!
She's a darn sight better than that twiggy little stick woman you have your eyes on.
Hey, what are you saying?
All I'm saying is that you little thin-limbed, scrawny, empty-headed types seem to stick together so well.
Oh, you want a piece of me? I'm standing right here.
Come on, let's go!
Listen, you guys, if there's gonna be a fight, we're gonna do it my way.
Not that robot. Turn it off! What?
Kids, when you got a beef, don't take the law into your own hands.
Kemp drives their little buggy out of the canyon and toward the sun to warm the ship up, and they instantly heat enough to shed their spacesuits. Too bad they have to keep driving toward the sun, because moments later they're sweating buckets and seem moments away from having heat strokes. To make things even worse, with only a few miles left to go, the ship completely overheats, and they just don their spacesuits fast enough to escape before it blows to smithereens. They only have an hour of charge left in their suits, but miracle of miracles, they're right where they wanted to be, and we're treated to an episode of Plot Convenience Playhouse. It turns out one of the men at the base was the one who murdered Clementine's brother under Hubbard's orders, since his mind was in the way of where the asteroid is set to crash. The killer confesses all of this just as Hubbard gets there, of course, and Hubbard is able to get his way by threatening to kill Clementine. Bill comes quietly to finish the asteroid job, while she and their trusty engineer are kidnapped as leverage.
Take off your moon suit.
He asked her. Boy, I wish I was him.
Whoa, Joel, give me a hand. I'm shorting out here. What is
it's just
this?
a film. Don't worry, Servo.
Focus.
Whew. This is the life.
Is there any water left?
Just the gallons you're putting out.
How much farther?
Well, the script says a few more miles.
7, 10?
Which is it, 7 or 10? I'm sorry, but 7 means we might make it, 10 means we won't.
What's the trumpet mean?
Look, we've got power for...
Shut up that jazz combo. I'm nervous enough as it is.
The overheating is...
Suicide door.
Quick, in the crack. Wait! Oh, the jazz combo is still in there.
The day the music died.
Guess they won't try that again.
Tell me what you think it smells like.
Cheese balls.
Pine forest.
Watermelon?
Wet canvas.
Now, you sold them as air bottles. You sell all air bottles around here.
Yeah, but I distinctly remember not selling that air bottle.
You'd better...
Mr. Hubbard, they found out about it. You've got to get me off the moon.
Hogan, I wouldn't say any more about that if I were you.
So, they tried. Really? All 3 of them? All 3.
Even raspberry red?
Let me get this straight. You got that lost to murder my brother just so that you could have a place to land an asteroid.
In a nutshell, yeah.
They start gearing up the valuable space rock to blast it toward the moon when the two captives get some ideas. They easily defeat the one guy set to watch the door and start flying the ship away, seemingly stranding everyone else on the asteroid. Bill then snatches a gun from one of the goons, and the duo of ex-prisoners starts lowering the ship back down. As Bill lets go of the asteroid, he shoots it off into space with Hubbard and his henchmen aboard, and our heroes watch as the men die horrifically strapped to a speeding boulder, crashing and splintering into the moon.
I'll need a long line.
Like a soliloquy or a monologue?
Taplin, it will land 16 minutes after firing.
Give or take a millionth of a second.
Excellent timing, Whitson. On your left, the big throttle lever. Put it all the way back.
But before you do that,
oh, no smoking in your pressure suit. First rule in the book.
Mr. Kemp, can your engineer land that thing on his own?
well, he's not good at parallel parking, but if it's a diagonal spot, he can do it.
He needs you as much as we need the ship.
And vice versa.
Mr. Kaminsky, if you hear me, we're ready to go.
You could have
home
just
now.
grabbed that.
Light bulbs.
They're surfing. I can fly! I can fly! I'm the luckiest boy in the world.
Well, they'll be on the moon before we are.
Seal her up. We'll follow as far as we can.
And take lots of pictures.
4, 3.
Yeah! Yeah!
You're fired, Sparky. Moon 02.
And we end with the usual ram chips and letters, with Tom being very astute and intellectual in his own ram chip earning answers.
Tell me a good thing and a bad thing about the movie, and you get ram chip. Right, ram chip. Okay.
I thought that the movie provided an opportunity for us to examine the various inaccuracies often portrayed in ersatz space movies such as this one.
I see. You're really bucking for that ram chip, aren't you, pal?
Yep.
Do you want to tell me what good thing and a bad thing about the movie?
It was groovy, and I mean that in a good way.
Okay, and the bad thing?
It was groovy.
Right, you mean that in a bad way, right?
Yeah,
Okay,
exactly.
All right.
This, oh my goodness, this is all I've wanted out of this season. Consistent and amusing riffs with a film that doesn't completely put you to sleep. While there are a couple of lulls joke-wise, they usually come in plot-heavy scenes, and they're nowhere near as many as the 30 to 45 second long pauses from Robot vs. the Aztec Mummy or The Crawling Eye. The host segments, while not great, are all watchable and come with some classic early season templates. Joel's invention was pretty fun, and Joel himself even laughs quite a bit in both the theater and on the bridge, which always gets extra points from me. This is easily the most well-rounded episode we've gotten thus far by a mile, and I really hope the final two finish off the season strong. As always, thank you all so much for watching, and of course special thanks to all my lovable Patreon supporters, including Jackie Ball, Kevin Nata, and Jill Johnson. Things have finally quieted down a bit on my end, and I can really focus on videos again, so I'll be bringing out a special MST Halloween Top 10, a couple monster-themed as told by Google Images videos, and finally my ranking of all the Muppet movies within the next couple weeks here, and I'm also getting things geared up for this year's Christmas videos. It's amazing all you can get done when you don't need to study. Thanks again, and I'll see you guys later.
So long, suckers.